Welcome to another episode of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Thanks so much for being with us today. I am your host, Karen E. Osborne, author of Getting It Right, Tangled Lies, Reckonings, all women suspense mystery books, and my first historical fiction, also suspense, is True Grace, and it comes out in September. And my guest today is this fascinating woman. So her name is Jennifer Lycette, but she writes also under J.L. Lycette, and she is a physician. She's an oncologist and a novelist. So you're intrigued, right? You're already intrigued. How you doing, Jennifer?
I'm doing good, Karen. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, I'm delighted. I'm delighted to have you. So this book, so I should tell you the name of it. It's The Algorithm Will See You Now. Do you have a copy of
Oh,
it?
yes, right
Everybody?
behind me here. I should have had that ready.
No, that's fine.
Yes, here it is
Look
right
at
here.
this. The algorithm will see you now. You're intrigued already, aren't you? Yes. So tell us what inspired, how did physician Jennifer get inspired to become a novelist of a thriller?
Yeah, gosh. Sometimes I wonder that myself, to be
Right?
honest, but yeah, so it was just published last month on March 2nd, but I actually started writing it over 6 years ago. And um my writing story just kind of goes back around the same time. I started out writing like personal essays and what we call narrative medicine, which is basically trying to like find the meaning in our stories, both for physicians, for patients. And I actually, to be honest, was one of the many doctors in the US today who suffered from burnout. Although I really didn't recognize it for a while, but I guess to make a long story short, sort of like my writing became like my therapy. um, and I ended up like a lot of my nonfiction essays, which is kind of what I first started publishing. It really, I can realize now looking back, although I don't think I knew it at the time, I was really like just trying to like kind of like rediscover my humanity. um because I'm of the age that like, so I graduated from med school over 20 years ago, and so and it's still like this nowadays, but I think it's gradually getting better. But like really, I look back now and I realize like all of my like 20s during medical school and residency, and as an oncologist, I did another level called fellowship. The medical culture sometimes just really like sort of like programs you to suppress your humanity, and that obviously is a big thing that leads to burnout, and a lot of us, like, it ends up happening in our in our middle ages. um so I realize now looking back, I was really like I guess like trying to rediscover that humanity, and writing really helped me to do that. And
That's cool. That
the
is,
yeah, so sorry to be
yeah.
rambling. And then I didn't get to the how does that come to a thriller or fiction. Well, this is really going to sound like so much hubris, but um and I can sort of go into the backstory of how I got interested in AI even back before all the current things going on. But I just had this idea like, gosh, I want to share this with a wider audience. Maybe I could write a novel. Like, seriously, not knowing how hard it would be to write a novel. But it once I started like just taking like online classes and doing webinars and like everything I could learn about fiction writing, I was just like so hooked. And so that's how I started writing my novel.
Yes, yes. So you mentioned AI. So just briefly tell everybody what the premise of this thriller is.
Sure, yeah. So the premise is it's set in near future Seattle in 2035, so not too far off from now.
Mm.
And essentially there's like a healthcare corporation that actually like perfects like what they're talking about now, like generative AI that can actually like take all the patient's data like down to the DNA level and tell the doctors like what's the best treatment for this person, and will they respond or won't they respond, and then uh, essentially my protagonist is a young surgeon who um, has her own sort of wound and backstory of why she wants to make a better healthcare system, and so she's all in for this. Um,
Oh, so
and
she's
then
supporting the AI.
she's supporting the AI.
Mm,
She
before it
wants
turns on her.
exactly, exactly. So then something happens. I don't want to give spoilers, but then she starts to question it, and then with another resident who is a new intern who has her own suspicions, very personal for what actually might be wrong with this algorithm driven care. And so they um, basically go, in story terms, go on a quest to figure out what's
Yeah.
going on behind
What's
the scenes.
and how to stop this? Because I love the description, that you're not just saving, you're trying to save the world at the same time as you're trying. Yeah, so that is so cool. Um, so are you still working full time as a physician?
So I work part-time, which for me is like 3 days in the office and then time at home. So it's basically when I came back from my burnout, I knew that I wanted to keep writing as a part of my life. And so have worked out just a little bit of balance there. And
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. And
yeah.
you're a mom too, right? So you're juggling being a mom and writing and being a physician. That's cool. It sounds like you found kind of a nice balance for yourself.
Well, I have an incredibly supportive spouse. My husband is really my equal partner in everything. And I will be honest, perhaps even does a bit more at home with the kids. And my kids are older now. So like my oldest is in college, and so we're we have two still at home, but they're out of those younger years. So
Yeah,
it
they're not
makes
in
a difference.
diapers and you're not
Yes.
worried about potty training
Yes,
anymore.
they
So,
they they go to sleep on their own and they, sleep through the night. Yeah.
so now that you have the novel bug,
Yes.
are you working on anything now?
I am. So actually, since, I've been, I started working on the algorithm over 6 years ago, and then I worked on it for about 3 years, and then put it aside for a while. And then actually during the pandemic, I started writing the second book, which is actually a
Mm.
prequel to the algorithm. And so that is actually coming out this November.
Mm.
But yeah, also with Black Rose, so I'm very, very excited. And um, yeah, so I tell when some people find out like, oh, I have a second book coming out already. It's not like I just like wrote it in 6 months. I've also been working on it for a few years. So and to any writers out there, listen, like I spent a long time, before I found my publisher. And one of the exciting things is like if you do have more than one book, once you do find a publisher, like you often then can actually publish them in short sequence. And so don't ever don't ever give up on anything. Like, put them aside, that's fine, but you can come back to them. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It took me a long time to
yeah.
get the second one published, and then boom, you know, the next one came out 1 year later, but I didn't just write it in a year. I had it ready.
Right.
You know, it was
Yes.
when our publisher said, "Do you have another?" I guess I do. I do
Yes.
have another. So that's sometimes it looks like people are more prolific than they are, but it does take time, doesn't it? It takes us
Right.
a lot of time. I shared with so the audience has heard this joke before, but not joke, but this funny anecdote before. But I asked a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds, so you might appreciate this. How long do you think it takes to write a book? And one of them said 2 weeks.
Love it.
Okay. So, so one of the things we like to do is talk about reading because all of us are readers. What kind of, are you a thriller genre preferrer, or what's your genre, or what genres do you enjoy reading?
Yeah. I read across genres and definitely, of course, thrillers, but I have to say, like, if I'm reading just purely for fun, usually I'm reading like science fiction or fantasy or
Mm,
speculative. That's just always been my love. So
that's your go-to. So do you
yeah.
have any books that you've recently read that you can recommend to our, or not even
Yeah.
recently, whenever, that you could recommend to our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought of a couple, and um, none of them are like brand new this year, but one that I just read that I love because actually there's a show now on Amazon Prime is The Power, which is based on the book by Naomi Alderman, which I don't know how I missed this when it came out, but it came out I think like in 2017. So the show is going on right now on Amazon Prime, and the first week they released 3 episodes only, and then I was like, I can't wait. Like I have to read the book. So it's, for anyone who doesn't know, the premise is about um uh well, not like one day, but essentially like out of the blue, like girls across the planet develop the power of electricity. And so like almost overnight, like the power balance shifts in the world. And it is like the show is amazing. The show, they're doing a little bit different thing than the characters in the book, but I love both. But I yeah, you can tell I'm like a huge fan of it. It is, I just think it's brilliant. Like her premise and everything she's done in it. It's, I can't recommend it enough.
So would you suggest they read it before watching the series, or it doesn't matter?
Oh gosh, I think I mean, I have to say I always in general like to read a book before I see the show or the movie. So
Yeah, me too.
um but I think this could go either because again, like I watched the first 3 episodes and then I went back to the book. And so I mean you could even go back and forth. I think you could do either.
Cool. Excellent. Excellent. So if our audience would like to be in touch with you, um, know what's going on, find out how can they find you online?
Yeah, sure. So my website is real easy. It's just my name, jenniferlycette.com. And then I'm on Twitter at JL underscore Lycette. And that's my uh what is it? I wanted to say handle, but I feel like that's not the right term. Like that's very old fashioned.
That's fine.
Um, and actually until publishing the book, like that was my only social media. I'm not great at social media, but I do have a Facebook author page, JL Lycette author. And I am on Mastodon at JL underscore Lycette at mindly dot social. I'm not on Insta, so
Okay. And if they went to your website, they could find all your links, right?
yeah, everything's on the website, so that's probably the
That's probably the
easiest.
best
Just my
place to,
name.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the best
yeah,
place to go. Well, I
yeah.
hope that we have intrigued all of you, that you are really interested in this, especially if you like science fiction and fantasy and that kind of genre. It sounds like such a good thriller to me. It's now on my have to read pile. So I hope you will buy Jennifer's book. I hope you will follow her like her webpage and follow her on Twitter so you can see what's going on. And please introduce yourself and tell her that you met here on What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? See you next time, next week, I hope. Take care, everybody.